Hello, you guys. Today I'm going to be reading some scary stories because it is October. I'm planning on putting at least four scary stories out this week. Not this week. Four scary stories out this month. Just because it is October. I mean, why not? So grab your snacks, grab your wine. I got mine. And let's read some scary stories. So this one is by The Real Grape Vampire. I thought hiding in my basement would keep me safe. For as long as I've been alive, this town and all the people in it have been nothing but ordinary. I was no exception. Ordinary grades, looks, family. When I graduated from college, I came back and bought an ordinary house. I was the most average person I knew. That's why I don't understand how I got mixed up with in this mess to begin with. It started a year ago. People began disappearing from our town, two every month, always on the fourth. No signs of struggle, no traces left behind. It was like the world just erased them. After the third month, everyone started sleeping with the lights on, doors locked, windows nailed shut. The police patrolled the streets all night, but it never made a difference. Whoever or whatever was doing it didn't stop. I was terrified. Every small sound, every creak sent me straight into the basement, where I hid every night someone disappeared. I told myself it wouldn't happen to me. I wasn't important enough. But fear doesn't care about logic. I became paranoid. Bad dreams every single night. I'd think about it. I'd think about all the missing people, see the pictures on their missing persons reports every time I closed my eyes. I could even imagine what their faces looked like when they did, twisted into agony and pain haunting me. I got into the habit of checking my locks, sometimes twice, sometimes three times. The only door I ever left open was the one to the basement, just in case I had to hide in the bunker below. The 4th was coming again, May the 4th, my birthday, the 13th month. I told myself that was just a coincidence, but the thought stayed, chewing quietly at the edges of my mind. That night, the power went out just before midnight. It was so dark I could hear my own pulse in my ears. Then I heard footsteps above me, soft, deliberate. I didn't wait. I ran for the basement, locked the door, sat against it, flashlight clutched tight. Why didn't you have a weapon? I stayed down there for hours. The sound stopped eventually, or maybe I just stopped hearing it. When I woke up, daylight was seeping through the little window near the ceiling. It was over. I had made it through another night. I almost laughed. I was shaking, but alive. Then I noticed the smell. It was faint at first, sweet like iron and damp wood. I told myself it was the pipes, or the mold, or maybe something rotting behind the walls. But when I stood up, my foot slipped in something wet. There was a dark stain on the floor, not large, but thick and dried at the edges. And then, in the corner, was the old storage room. The door was open. I thought maybe something had fallen over in the night. I took a step closer, but my flashlight flickered and died before I could see inside. The smell was stronger there. I told myself to leave it alone, to go upstairs, call someone, breathe fresh air. But when I turned, the basement door was wide open. I was sure I had locked it. I didn't remember unlocking it. I see where this is going. I climbed the stairs slowly, heart pounding, the boards groaning under my weight. The house was silent, still. Then I saw it, the trail, a faint line of red smudges heading from the kitchen towards the basement door. My stomach turned. It wasn't fresh. It had dried, darkened, as if it had been there for days. I don't remember seeing it last night, or the night before, or any of the nights before that. The air in the house felt different, stale, heavy. I thought I heard something, a voice maybe, or a whisper, but it was only the wind pushing through the cracks. I stood there for a long time, staring at the stains, my mind trying to fit the pieces together. Every fourth, two people missing. I started to remember flashes, mud under my nails, cold air on my skin, faces I couldn't place, screaming, distant and muffled, like a dream I had already forgotten. When I finally looked down at myself, my sleeves were stiff with something dark that had dried there. I looked around, my hands shaking and my stomach twisted into a knot. There were clothes in my laundry hamper, stained with dark, dried brown. They were piled. I couldn't even remember the last time I did laundry. I couldn't find traces of it everywhere in my apartment. The smell was stronger now, so familiar I could almost taste it. I backed towards the basement, numb, unsteady. The air down there was cooler, quieter, easier to breathe. Then I understood. The basement wasn't where I hid from it. It was where I woke up after. Hmm. I'm a little confused. Like, is she saying, or are they saying that they were the person doing the killings? Or were they the person that was haunted or the flood? I don't know. But it was a good story. Let's find another one. Okay. So this one is from Fun Focus 5361. It's titled Upstairs. The ticking sound was driving me nuts. But what are you going to do when you're in an old person's house? The trinkets are everywhere. I picked up the box I had just put down and avoided looking at the painting, those whose eyes were following me, and the cliche stairs that kept creaking every time I walked in a particular one. I was doing volunteer work, helping my older neighbor pack up for her move. Irene, my neighbor, was currently sitting out in her patio, staring out into the world. I wondered what she was thinking about. Once I put the box where it was supposed to go and was well over my volunteer time, I went out to let her know. Irene, I called. I'm going to head out. Let me know if you need anything else before I leave. No, you're good to leave, she called out in a sweet voice. Sounds good. I'll see you tomorrow. I kept hearing that ticking sound and wanted to go see what it was before I left and where it was coming from. Not only because it was driving me nuts, and I don't think I could deal with it tomorrow too, but because I was wondering if it was bugging Irene. I passed the wondering eyes of the picture of a sad looking woman and wandered into a room where it sounded like the noise was coming from. I heard it but couldn't find the source. Maybe I was just hearing things, or it was just this old house. I decided to give up on the noise and head out. What are you doing? A voice of a young woman called out to me. I refused to turn around because I knew Irene and I were the only ones in here. The woman's face was pale and cruel, and matching nothing of her sweet voice. Her long black hair was stringy, and her clothes looked as if they were burnt. She was staring right at me, and I realized for a second in my fear she looked familiar. She was the sad looking woman who followed me everywhere. I couldn't believe I was about to answer her when I said, I was looking for the source of this noise I kept hearing. She blinked at me and told me not to worry about the noise, but continued to block the door. I had so many questions I wanted to ask, but considering it was more than not a dead woman telling me not to worry, I needed to get out of there. I moved my feet, and for some reason that gave me the confidence to move the rest of my body. I've been watching you. It's kind of it's kind of you to help me out here. I could move my body, but no words came out of my mouth. Ava, are you still here? The woman blocking the door gave me a look that told me to keep my mouth shut. It wouldn't have mattered if I opened my mouth anyways. Who are you? I finally got out. I live here. She looked me dead in the eyes when she said this. I've never seen you before. Irene is the only person who lives here. That's not true, and you know it. How many times did you see the curtain move when Irene was out in her patio? I thought about it. She wasn't wrong. I had seen a curtain move plenty of times when I knew Irene was out on the patio. I figured it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, or Irene had left the window open. Turns out it was neither. Interrupting my thoughts, she said, She can't see me. Only you can. I wanted to ask her why she's here and why she's haunting this place, but she answered it for me before I could even get the words out. I've been stuck upstairs for over 40 years and can't escape. Irene's tried to take my portrait down, but no one can take it down, not even me. So you just haunt the upstairs? She simply said yes. Does it does it also have anything to do with the ticking noise? She tilted her head to the side and left. Probably. I was going to get out of here, even if that meant I had to be face to face with a ghost. She let me pass without a fight and looked over her shoulder. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow? As if I would be going back there. I couldn't let Irene down, so I guess I would be back. The next day, I braced myself for what I was going to see and hear. But of course, Irene told me there were more boxes upstairs for me to grab. I acted as if there was nothing wrong with me going upstairs and tried not to scare that horrible painting. I could still hear the ticking sound, but didn't see that woman anywhere. Up and down the stairs I went without seeing her at all. Irene, when you go upstairs, do you ever hear a ticking sound by chance? She looked at me like I was crazy, but answered, Of course, it's probably coming from the piano room. I looked to go, but the old woman stopped me and said, All the boxes are where they're supposed to be, but there's one more thing. I wasn't a religious person, but at that moment I prayed to whoever was listening that she wasn't about to say what I thought. The picture on the wall needs to come down as well. It wasn't even mine to begin with, but it's just so beautiful I can't imagine leaving it. I stood there at the top of the stairs staring at the painting, the one that's been following me this whole week. Part of me wishes I knew the muse for it was real, but I couldn't have given it the evil eye this whole time. Beautiful, isn't it? That sweet that sweet song voice said. I looked at the painting and then I looked at the woman standing before me. I knew she was a ghost, but I wanted to know her story. I wanted to know why she had been haunting this old woman's upstairs. The next thing I knew, she was telling me everything. There was a fire, started in the kitchen. Eventually, it made itself upstairs, where she was in the piano room. The door got stuck and she couldn't get out, but everyone else did. She stayed there and watched as everything burned around her. Her family could do nothing. The fire department was too late. So she stuck there with the ticking of the metronome, along with the painting, the only things that show she was here. I asked her why no one could take the painting off the wall, though, and she simply answered, My soul keeps it in place. I told Irene the painting can't come off the wall, and she shrugged, saying, I guess you just can't take everything. It was here when I moved in, so I guess it'll be ready for the next person who moves in. I nodded at her, knowing the next person is going to have a haunted upstairs. I turned to leave when Irene stopped me and said, Did you ever figure out what that ticking sound might be? I was shocked she even heard it, but I shook my head back and forth. No, the one thing I never got to the bottom off when cleaning. No worries, she said as she brushed it off. It's like white noise to me now, anyways. I hugged her goodbye, wishing her well on a new journey. As I walked past the stairs, I looked up subtly to see that the painting followed me once more. On my way out the door, I passed by a mirror only to notice a new portrait had been hung up by the door, one that I did recognize. I turned around only to notice a sad looking woman watching me. Welcome home, she said. Ooh. Alright, I'm running out of space on my phone, so we're gonna stop the video right now. Let me know in the comments if you like the video. More videos to come.